What's up, everybody? This is World Champion Wrestler Stevan Micic, and today I'm here with an awesome wrestling video. Today I'm going to be talking about mistakes to avoid in the sport of wrestling. Some of these mistakes are things that I've done that have delayed my successes, and mistakes I've made in the sport, whether it's technical, physical, mental, things I've done with my training or competitions or overall just skill development that, things that I probably could have maybe excelled faster in the sport, but I've also learned from. So I'm here today to talk about those things. I've got about 4 or 5 of them for you. I think that you guys can use to improve your wrestling. There's no magic formula for wrestling. There's no magic pill, but there's ways that can get you better by learning from others' mistakes. So before we get into it, guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notification bells on. Alright, so the very first mistake that I would avoid, guys, and I think this one speaks volumes in the sport of wrestling, is focusing too much on our offense instead of our defense. Because, if you look at any wrestling gym, it's always drilling takedowns, drilling leg attacks, singles, high crotch, doubles, score, score, score. This is great, and I feel like this is awesome to be able to learn your attacks. I think just keeping your positioning and having a balanced amount of defense that you can learn. Maybe you spend more time drilling and practice for your offense than you do defense, but in your private lessons, in your instructions, in your one-on-one workouts, I really do think it's important to spend a lot of time on your down blocks, your sprawls, your leg defense from a head inside, head outside, crack down. Guys has an angle on your leg, picking up a single leg. Different areas that you can work to practice your skill development in defense is crucial. I've always been a really offensive wrestler, and I feel like for me, I would have excelled a little bit better if my balance of defense and offense were a little bit more similar. And I think that's something that me and my dad have talked about. If my dad ever did it again training me, maybe he would have spent a little bit more time skill developing my defense. But obviously, I've got it to where I want it to be now with my wrestling. Obviously, it's taken a while for that to happen, and to become a world champ at 27 is an amazing thing, but who knows, it could have been sooner. Point number 2, over competition. I think going to tournaments and competing can really lead to sometimes maybe not improving and actually ingraining bad habits from your competitions. I spoke on this before. This is something that I feel like I did a really good job of for the most part as a kid, but I noticed that sometimes we all get into it, especially in the high school season. The season goes within 40 to 50 matches for kids that they're having throughout the year, and sometimes just going into practice, getting workouts in, getting your sweat, pushing yourself really doesn't improve you because you're just going and cutting weight and competing in more competitions, and sometimes it's difficult to improve. But I think, guys, regardless of what it is, I think resetting, coming back to the drawing board every week, looking at your areas of concentration, and then trying to improve in your competitions, that will take away the over-competition idea. So I think if we can just focus on improving, getting better in the sport, and then applying the work that we need that we've improved in practice into our competition, it's going to actually allow for the competition to become an outlet for our improvement instead of just something that we're doing and going through the motions in.
You want to be a world champion wrestler like me? Do you want to bench more than the bar like I used to do? You want to be able to do pull-ups like a real man? All jokes aside though, guys, Dr. Dylan Lemery, aka DL Training Systems, changed my training trajectory for my wrestling forever. In 2 years, I was able to become a freestyle world champion in wrestling. Working with Dylan, he sent me, even though he's in Spokane, Washington, he'd send me programs on my phone every week, modified for my specific training needs, and elevated me to the next level. Well, whatever level you guys are in, whether it's youth, middle school, high school, or even in college and beyond, he'll program for you guys, making specific programs for you guys wherever phase you guys are in your life. Make sure to check out the link in description below. Let's go, baby. World champs and everything we do. The DL difference, baby.
Point number 3, guys. Traveling to too many clubs, having too many coaches. Okay, in my opinion, I think that this might be one of the most important ones, especially for youth parents to hear and high school parents, because they go to a club, they build their foundations at this club, and obviously maybe they're not where they need to be in like the grand schemes of being a really good wrestler and wrestling at the next level. And maybe there's kids at other clubs, and maybe they've passed some of the training partners up, and they want to go and travel to an hour away to this place, an hour away to this place, 45 minutes to this place, and now they're circulating between 3-4 different gyms, but they're really not calling one place home for the most part, and it changes too frequently. I think this is a really big mistake in wrestling. I think we lose touch about what made us good and got us to that level. I think no matter what, especially when you're trying to find your identity as a wrestler, you need to keep this core group, this core coach, this core center training, keep that around what's made you good. And then from there, once you have that built up, and that needs to go for about 75-80% of your workouts. The other 20 to 25%, I would say, that is where you can maybe travel to maybe search out different sparring partners to go live against. But regardless of that, maybe that's a once-a-week type situation, maybe twice. But I think in general, most of your everyday workouts need to be at the same place with the same coach for clubs. Because going to high school is already one situation. situation. Going to this other place, that's another situation. You already have your main club that you're a part of. So I think that making sure that club, you have your coach, you have your parents, everyone's in the same line of your track and trajectory of getting better. Everyone always thinks the grass is greener on the other side. Maybe this club's doing anything better or not. My dad always told me the grass is greener wherever you fertilize it, wherever you water it, okay? So that could be where you're at already today. It's not going over to somewhere else for some magic pill and magic formula to fast track your kid's success. The fourth point now, guys, that might revolve around clubs. I want to talk about individual coaches. I think having too many chefs in the kitchen can be an issue, especially when you are traveling to these different clubs, but also the advice that you take from a lot of coaches. Because sometimes hearing advice from too many people and trying to take advice from everybody can actually be a little bit too much noise, a little bit too loud. I call it too many chefs in the kitchen because it actually clutters things and makes things less productive. And sometimes you kind of can lose identity in yourself as a wrestler from telling one guy you need to wrestle like this, another coach is telling you need to wrestle like this. In reality, you need to stick to what's true. You need to stick to your roots. For me, I had my dad and I had Alex Sertzis when I was from kids through high school, and those kind of really who I stuck with until I went even to college, where I still was reliant heavily on my dad. So I mean, for the most part, that was my team, my system, and that was my club at Regen Wrestling. So I didn't really expand too much out of that. Maybe going to different places to go in and get workouts in here and there, but for the most part, I listened to one coach or two coaches, and they were on the same page about developing my success in a linear trajectory. If we move off of that, you get a little bit sticky, you get a little confusing, and actually we're really not getting that much better. We're probably going to stay the same. It just may think because we're doing more things, we think we're being productive, but it actually isn't. So that's another mistake to avoid. My last mistake, guys, for you to avoid, for some of you multi-sport athletes, is specializing in wrestling. I know it can be difficult, especially when you enjoy maybe playing football or basketball, but you guys need to look at yourselves in the mirror and say, if you are really dedicated in wrestling, you need to really limit the time you're doing these other activities to specialize in wrestling. Look, wrestling has changed my life in many, many ways. I've gotten closer to my family. I've gotten closer to my country of origin, my heritage of being Serbian. I've also gotten closer to many people, meeting so many different connections in the world of wrestling and outside of the wrestling because of what I've accomplished in the sport. Maybe for you guys that you want to do all these other things and it seems really fun for now, but you're also now, limiting your chances of excelling at a sport into the next level. And guys, if you're only 150 pounds, 140 pounds, and maybe you just like to play football but you want to wrestle, maybe you guys should rethink things a little bit and try to take one sport serious, focus on your wrestling, improve your skills, and then, if you want to do something else, maybe you can focus on your lifts or doing other type of workouts that can help for your wrestling in general. But for the most part, I think specializing, thinking about the sport of wrestling, improving your skills there, and getting better, and that way maybe you can go further in the sport. If you keep improving and you have goals set to go and do something after high school in the sport, it could change your life regardless if you're wrestling Division I, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO. Wrestling's an amazing sport, and the opportunities are just growing. With women's sports now, I think wrestling is gonna explode. So these are my 5 mistakes to avoid in the sport of wrestling. I hope you guys can learn from this. Some of these I've made myself. Some of you, I know a lot of people have made them around me. So guys, let me know what you guys think below. Make sure to comment. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you. World champs in everything we do, baby.